What up, Dokkanners, folks? If there's one thing that I've learned during the 7-year anniversary, it's that no matter how many times you cover a particular topic or discuss certain topics of conversation, either during videos, comment sections, multiple videos, multiple streams, etc., there will always be more people wanting to know that very same question, asking the same questions, and that's totally fine because we have a lot of new players, returning players coming back. Not everyone is able to consume the same amount of content that you might. So in today's video, we are going to be doing a little bit of overlapping, but for the most part, this is going to be covering the Extreme Z battle events that are dropping during part 2, and more focusing on the team building guide, the preparation element of this entire thing. I also want to clarify the amount of stones that we're going to be earning on these 2 events, because as usual, Toon committed an oopsie, a big oopsie, and I accidentally didn't show the correct number of stones, so I would like to clarify that in this video. So that being said, let's jump in and let's take a look at these 2 EZAs. We've got the gods, the Super Saiyan gods, Super Saiyan God Goku Vegeta, Destined Rivals 4, that's the name of the series, Destined Rivals Saga 4. So this one, Pure Saiyans is the weakness. As I mentioned before, 30 stages, which means 30 stones, 1 stone per stage. And then we also get 3 Dragon Stones for awakening a unit from level 1 to level 7. Here's the thing though. The following missions can be completed twice, once for each character. I failed to include this in my stone count, which I did clarify in the pinned comment, and I also answered multiple questions in the comment section, but you know, classic Toon L, right? So I'm here to make amends for my mistake. We're actually going to be earning double this. So it's not 33, it's in fact 36. Same exact situation applies to the Shadow Dragon Saga EZA, the Gogeta, and the Omega Shenron. Same exact deal. However, for those of you wondering what happened here, why there's 40 stones, it's because for some reason, from stage 20 onwards, you're earning 2 stones per run instead of 1. I guess that just means that these runs are going to be tougher. This kind of reminds me of how there's a significant jump for the LR EZAs. Instead of having 30 stages worth 1 stone each, you're doing 10 stages, each one being worth 3 stones, which makes them considerably more difficult. The bosses are more robust, they're able to take more and deal more damage, so it's a little bit tougher, which means the payout is a little bit more rewarding. So likewise, I'm assuming that's probably why they're giving us 2 stones here, but in any case, that's 10 more stones, which means 40 stones. But on top of that, again with the missions, 3 stones given for the complete awakening, and then another 3 are given for the other unit, which I failed to comprehend on that other video, so that's my bad. So instead of 33, we're getting 36. Instead of 43, we are getting 46. And one more thing, the daily login is actually 3 stones instead of 1. So I also goofed on that, which means my original stone count of 182 was incorrect. Shocker.
You what?
It's actually going to be 212. And more interestingly than that, the 2 EZAs alone, 36 plus 46, account for nearly 40% of the part 2 celebration, which means y'all should be definitely making sure you get every single one of these stones from these missions and the rounds completed. So let's dive in and show you exactly how you can put together some teams for these 2 events. Looking at the God event, of course, we are going to be outnumbered. Not outnumbered, but we're fighting multiple opponents. We are fighting a Tech God Goku and an STR God Vegeta. The good news is the double team only takes place from round 20 onwards. So up until that point, you only have to deal with 1 unit and their type advantage. They do alternate, so it starts with STR, then it goes to Tech, then it goes to STR, then it goes to Tech. So for these early preliminary rounds, you can focus on the typing that focuses on the type advantage. So you can do that because usually things don't really get to amp up until stage 25 onwards. But of course, if you're a new player, that's totally different. One thing to take note of, the damage reduction is significantly increased against Tech units, which means Tech units will not be doing nearly as much damage. That does not mean, however, they're still not viable. If you bring a Pure Saiyan that has a Tech unit type, you will still be able to tank considerable damage. You just won't be able to deal much out, which is fine because when we're facing Tech units, we want to be bringing Int, and when we're facing STR units, we want to be bringing AGL. So Tech units really don't apply here. The trick is, though, when you're fighting both opponents, if you do bring AGL for the Vegeta weakness, you do then leave yourself slightly vulnerable for the Tech exploit, right? If the Tech unit attacks the AGL, that could be a problem. So you got to be a little bit careful there. If you can, try to avoid bringing the AGLs on these last few rounds, but if you have to, not a big deal because there are so many able-bodied Pure Saiyans. It's kind of insane. Look at this Look at this category. All right. So now let's jump into my game and let me show you some possible teams you guys can run. This is not an exhaustive list. There are so many different combinations and permutations of units that you can bring. So it's, I'm not going to be covering everything, but I just want to show you a couple of teams just to get your mind flowing, thinking about some possible team building strategies, just to make you, prepare a little bit more. So looking right here, obviously one of the best Pure Saiyan's lead is going to be the Super Vegeta. He has the ability to launch guaranteed criticals, which is going to be extremely useful against these EZAs because, the harder you hit, the sooner you can take him out, the better and more safe you will be. Vegeta's fantastic. He's just a one-man wrecking crew. You could bring the Super Saiyan 3 Vegeta for some defense if you need it, because the Super Vegeta isn't exactly the most defensively oriented. It's all about offense, whereas this guy's more defense. You could also bring some nice supports with the Paragus and the Broly if you have this unit, because there's actually a really, really nice support for Pure Saiyans and Joined Forces, 40% and Ki +2. And then they also gain an extra attack +130 when facing Pure Saiyans, which they are at all times. So actually, Paragus and Broly will be very useful here. Also, wanted to point out that if you guys are veteran players and you happen to have some Dragon Ball Heroes units, they're actually going to be very useful for this because they have the ability to heal, guard all attacks, and heal. Dark Mask King can do that. And then this Masked Vegeta has the ability to launch multiple attacks. So this is going to be actually a very formidable combination when actually running against the gods. The only thing is, of course, you got to be a little bit careful with the AGL getting hit with an attack. If that were to happen, the good news is that the Dark Masked King can actually guard and then dish out some damage and heal back whatever damage you deal to a certain percentage, which is actually a very nice combination. So there's one team you could possibly run. These are by no means optimized, but just to get your mind going. Another one is the undisputed king of Pure Saiyans, which is the Royal Blue Vegeta, now with the EZA. Full 170% leader skill. This is definitely better. So if you have this, you could run this alongside the Super Vegeta, if honestly, if you want to do that. But this is a Universe Survival Saga themed team just because. The reason why I wanted to point this out is because even though type disadvantage is AGL, there are some very powerful AGL units that could definitely overcome the type disadvantage. Ultra Instinct Goku is one such example. I also brought some supports. Y'all know I love to bring some supports. And Caulifla is the cheat code for this event. Against any Pure Saiyan, against any Universe Survival Saga opponent, Caulifla has guaranteed dodge. Which means if you are lacking in the firepower department, you will have a Caulifla who will never get hit, who will be able to stall and keep your runs going as long as you need to, with the ability to 100% dodge. So that's going to be a very useful ability. A lot of people abuse this ability on various other EZAs. There's nothing wrong with it. If they can do it, why not take advantage? So there's one team. Another one is an Extreme Pure Saiyans team. Now this one is probably the least practical of the bunch because most of you probably don't have enough of these extreme class Pure Saiyans, but if you do, I encourage you to try this out. This actually might be a pretty fun challenge. I will be going live on the channel tomorrow when these EZAs drop, and I will be doing them live with these different teams so you guys can see some possible combinations to consider running. And I very much want to see how this team does. This team looks very goofy and stupid, and I kind of want to see how well they do because some of them can hit pretty hard. We've got the legendary Super Saiyan Broly, we've got Super Saiyan Broly, we've got Wrathful Broly, and we've got Broly. Have I said enough Broly? Broly! And then we've also got Turles and Turles Great Ape. Now, keep in mind, folks, the same name update does not apply to the Extreme Z Battle side, so you can't be bringing units of the exact same name, which is why I had to do this exact foolishness right here. Moving on to the Full Int team. Now, this is probably only going to be for the very few of you who are whales or who have been around for a very long time and have all these units, because this is the team. A Full Int team at 200% capacity with maximum synergy with all Vegetas. This is overkill. So this team is definitely going to get the job done with the 200% Majin Vegeta lead. You can do all sorts of nasty things with these units, and I've also got some insane supports, 40%, 30%, 50%. This is a ridiculous team. If you've got this, you've won before the game even started. And lastly, free to play. I'm actually very much looking forward to trying this free to play team out because I kind of feel like we can make some serious moves with this team. I am by no means the free to play king. That title goes to my buddy Jay Fanta, but I like to consider myself the free to play clown, jester. I don't know. I'm up there. That's the point. So pay some respect to your free to play clown here. All right. The clown king. That's me. We're going to run this team and we're going to do some impossible things, and you guys are going to love it. All right. So that is it for the Gods EZA. Let me know in the comments what your team composition is going to be for this event. I think it's going to be pretty fun. Let's move on to the GT saga, or the Shadow Dragon saga. So for this one, as I pointed out before, it's a completely different landscape in terms of who you're facing, because it's only one-on-one. There's no multiple opponents. It's first Omega Shenron all in one lump sum, then it is Super Saiyan 4 Gogeta all in one lump sum. So for the first 15 stages, you can probably get away with some type disadvantages using incorrect units, not the proper category, because around 15 it's still pretty straightforward and still pretty easy. Things start to really amp up from stage 20 onwards, maybe even stage 25, after which you got to bring the right type units for this. So obviously the name of the game is bringing int, and the category in question is Shadow Dragon Saga. So let's move all the way down here and let's take a look. Now this one is a bit of an issue, because here we actually don't have too many int Shadow Dragon Saga units. That too, some of them are kind of deep cuts. So if you have not been around for a while, you probably don't have a lot of these units, which is why this one might be a little bit more challenging. So now let's switch over to the game and let me show you some of the teams that I've thrown together. Again, if you don't have enough of these units, there's really not much we can do, but we're still going to try anyway. So this is the classic Shadow Dragon Saga Giant 8-power team with the old Dokkan Festival int Super Saiyan 4 Gogeta. Honestly, this is all that you need. We do have a type disadvantage unit here with the AGL Goku, but depending on when you actually want to do this event, you could in theory wait until part 3 so that these units have their EZAs, because once the Super Saiyan 4's LRs have their EZAs, they're going to be so broken, it doesn't matter if they're type disadvantage. So if you want to wait, you can. If you can't wait and you just want to go ahead, just try to be a little bit careful with your Super Saiyan 4. But you've also got other grade A power units here, like the Super Saiyan 4 full power. We've also got the Giant Ape Vegeta free-to-play unit from the Vegeta's Reinvention story event. I think that's what it's called. Rejuvenation, Reinvention, whatever that is. This guy's actually pretty good when run with a full Giant Ape power team. So I would not dismiss this guy. He's actually pretty decent. Run him. Pan is here for a support if you have the unit. But man, this is actually going to be tough for a lot of you new players if you don't have all these guys. So here's one possible team composition. Here are the Shadow Dragons. Now this one, I don't expect a lot of you guys to run this, because some of you might not have even heard of Shenron. Some of you might not have even farmed out the LR Shadow Dragons. Some of you might not have even had the Princess, or the Oceania Shenron Princess Otto, This one's kind of tough, but if you can run it, try it out. You've got full Shadow Dragon, maximum synergy. There's a lot of synergy here. They do link pretty well. But, of course, you can't use status effects. You can't seal or do any of that stuff. So it is going to be a little bit tough when fighting the Super Saiyan 4 Gogeta, but still, I think it could be done, especially with the LR Shadow Dragons here. I wouldn't advise that you guys go purchase this unit from the Battlefield shop, but this is where you can buy the unit, the Battlefield shop, the Battlefield memory. It's very expensive, and if you're new, I would stay away from it for now. If you have to, that's a different story. Moving on, we've got the 7-year LR himself. I didn't really want to show this, but since Shadow Dragon Saga is such a small category, I didn't really have a choice. I didn't want to have to utilize the 7-year units, but we kind of have to in this particular case. Some of you will probably do something like this. Even if you don't have a full Shadow Dragon Saga team, as long as you have your 7 years in action, that's essentially all that you need. If you've got a full team, like let's just say you take all of these guys off the team. They are part of Shadow Dragon Saga. Everybody that just removed, they were all Shadow Dragon Saga. But let's just say you bring on a full team of fused fighters, right? None of them are Shadow Dragon Saga. Like you bring in Gotenks, Vegito, Gotenks, this guy, like just random units that are not even Shadow Dragon Saga. You'll still probably do okay, because the 2 7-year LRs, yours and the friend unit, will be ripping through the unit like it's nobody's business, right? So I wouldn't worry too much. If your main attack force is the 7-year LR, you're pretty much going to be okay. So there's one other option. And then lastly, a free-to-play team. I'm actually very scared about this one, because I don't know if a free-to-play team could handle that final stage, but we'll find out, because this team is predominantly int, so we might have the benefit with all the type advantages and all the decreased amount of damage that we take. We might actually be able to handle this. So let's just see what happens. But there you go, folks. Those are the team building strats that I have. Feel free to screen capture any one of these, both for the Shadow Dragon Saga as well as the Super Saiyan Gods. And best of luck to everybody on these 2 EZAs. As soon as it drops, I will be live. In fact, even before that, I will probably be live streaming on the channel for the start of part 2, so you guys don't want to miss any of the action. But again, folks, 82 Dragonstones out of 212. That's 40% of part 2. Do not miss a single one. Guys, thank you so much for watching. If you enjoyed the video, be sure to leave a like down below. Let me know in the comments, what teams do you guys have prepared for these 2 events? Are you ready for both? Is Shadow Dragon Saga going to be an issue for you? Do you have enough units? Let me know in the comments down below. Also, be sure to subscribe for more dope content in the future, and click the notification bell so that you let YouTube know you want to see more of my stuff. Do it! Thanks again. Stay tuned, and always remember to Dokkan responsibly.